Hi, good morning. We're here with Daniel Evans from TriFit. How you doing, Daniel?
Very good, thank you.
Good stuff. Good to have you here. Looking forward to the interview. So if you could kick things off for us and tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
Yeah, so as you said, my name's Daniel Evans, and I'm the owner of TriFit, which is a premium sportswear apparel brand. We design and manufacture sportswear for triathletes. So it's all based around the disciplines of triathlon. So you've got swim, bike, run, and then obviously the racing and a few other things around that. So yeah, that's it. It's not my background. My background was high-end cars, but I've just kind of fallen into this, and yeah, it's a passion of mine now.
Brilliant. How long have you been doing it for now then?
So it all came about. It's one of those sort of fairy tale stories. So back in, I think it was 2017, I was racing an Ironman race in Dubai, where I was living at the time, and I was wearing the race suit, the tri-suit that was deemed the best on the market at the time.
Yeah.
And after the race, I had all sorts of issues with this suit. It wasn't right, and it didn't fit, and it wasn't functioning properly. And I came home, and I was typical moaning to my wife, "Oh, this suit, this, the suit, that." And she kind of just dismissed it and went, just go and design your own. So yeah, I literally got out some coloring pencils, and I just got a piece of paper, and I started drawing what I thought would make a good tri-suit. And it kind of progressed, and I kind of showed it to a couple of people, and they're like, "Oh, you should just go and get a sample and make one." So I did. That was in around about 2018. And I was like, the sample came and it was terrible. And then I thought, no, do you know what? I'm going to persist. And at the time, I wasn't doing it with the thought of making a business. I was just sort of exploring what I could do. And then I did a few more samples. And then this fourth sample came, and I was like, actually, this is quite nice. This is quite good. I'd managed to sort of done a load of research on fabrics and things like this.
Yeah.
And then what I did was I just got this final sample, got together a few £100, bought about 20 tri-suits, built a simple website. And then, yeah, it's kind of snowballed from there, really. And now we sell to over 50 countries around the world, and we have stockists all over the world, and professional athletes, and won multiple awards. So we must be doing something right.
So what makes you stand out from the rest of the competition, or the options that are out there for you in the triathlon world?
Yeah, so there's a few things that I like to pinpoint to do with the TriFit apparel. First of all, we are top end. I make no excuses for that. We use premium fabrics. We use premium construction techniques. For example, on some of our active wear, our kind of gym or run wear, it's things like thermo welded seams, so there's no stitching, which increases strength, reduces weight. There's laser cutting ventilation, where they cut holes in the fabric with lasers. So it's all cutting edge stuff. There's a few other things as well. We're 1% for the Planet members, which I like to point out. So 1% of our annual turnover, not just profit turnover, goes to environmental causes. Because triathlon is a sport that's so connected with the environment, we like to sort of give back, and I think people like that. But I think the main thing that makes us stand out, well-designed, well-constructed products, and that resonates with our market.
Brilliant, good stuff. So in terms of your business journey to date, what's that been like from your sort of initial exploration of fabrics in 2017 to where we are now? How's it been? How would you describe it?
Up and down.
Up
and down. I think any sort of startup business, or any business in general, I think they're going to say it's up and down. The funny thing for us was we started with the one product. So we just started with one product, which was the race suit. In 2019, we won, hang on, I'm just 2020, sorry, we won the 220 Triathlon Best Tri-Suit Award. So 220 Triathlon is kind of like the Triathlon Bible magazine. They're like the global authority. And we won their best tri-suit out of 35 different tri-suits, but it was COVID. And there's no triathlons, there's no racing.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we're sat here going, we've got the best tri-suit in the world, and there is literally no one racing. And as you can imagine, COVID, it was a funny one, because a lot of our competitors struggled during COVID because they had large numbers of stock and they weren't selling it. Whereas we had almost no stock, but we had the best product. So, you know, it was swings and roundabouts, but since then we've won that award every single year. So for 3 years in a row, I've won best tri-suit. For my swimwear, I've won awards. For our active wear, for example, recently Women's Running magazine voted our sports bra and leggings 5 out of 5 best on test. So, you know, we've had these highs, but then, you know, things like COVID have brought you back down to reality.
Life's challenges. It's always the way how you navigate them. So what does the future look like from where you are now? What do you see as the main challenges, the ups and downs that you can predict?
Yeah, so future is just expansion, more products, more sort of distributors in certain locations. For example, America, the US is our biggest market. We sell a lot of our products there, and we haven't really explored it. It's kind of just happened that way. So I'd like to push the US market. It's like with anything, if you can sort of capture a percentage of the US market, you're doing very well. I'd like to bring on more professional athletes onto my roster. So I have a variety of athletes all over the world that have been winning Ironman races, and that's proved very beneficial to the business. So I'd like to improve that. But I think just expansion, really. Keep growing, more products, and see where we can take it.
Brilliant. So moving on to yourself then, as a business owner, and reflecting on the journey that you've had to date, what would you say is the biggest lesson that you've had so far? If you could pick out one from, I'm sure, the many that you have.
Yeah. Contracts. Okay.
The legal side.
Make sure contracts are watertight. One of the things when we started the business, where we started it as kind of almost like a side project, almost just a sort of, let's see what we can do. And it grew quite quickly, and we started winning awards. We weren't versed on the legal side of things, and we'd not, how to put this, we'd not kind of covered ourselves. We'd not made ourselves watertight, is the best way that I can put it. And it can cause you issues in the future. So I think if I was sort of given advice, I would say, you know, although it's just a pet project, you know, make sure it's done properly, and you know, make sure you're secure from the very start.
A bit more of a short-term pain for a long-term gain.
I would say so. Yeah, you know, you always look at the fees that lawyers charge and stuff like this for contracts, but at the start, you're thinking, oh well, I'm only making X amount, it's not worth it. But in a very short time, you could be making a lot more, and then that few hundred quid or £1,000 or whatever it is on a contract suddenly becomes very, very worthwhile.
Yeah, good stuff. Good share. You mentioned about advice there. So if you were giving advice to yourself just starting out, you have kind of reflected on that, or have somebody else just starting in business, a younger person, is that advice the same, or is there another piece of advice that you'd offer alongside that?
I think another piece of advice that I would give is just to kind of follow your passion. See, for me, this never started as a business. I never looked at this as I can make millions out of this. It kind of was almost an obsession. I thought I could do better, and I thought that I could, you know, start making a difference. And I think if you follow that thought process, then I think it can be beneficial to you, because you're kind of focused on the product and what you're doing, rather than, you know, just making money. So yeah, I think it's a cliche, isn't it? But it's just do what you enjoy and follow your passion.
Yeah, because if you're going to have to put the hours in, it's got to be on something that you believe is worthwhile. Otherwise, because the
100%.
results are the money. You know, you get
Yeah.
the fundamentals right. That's an output, the money, but you've got to be
Exactly.
on that. Yeah.
If you get the foundation right, then the rest of it will come. And I mean, you talk about hours there. My my previous role, I worked in automotive industry, selling cars, high-end cars. So I was getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, working on this, doing Zoom calls with the other side of the world, going to work, doing 10, 11-hour days at work, coming home, putting the kids to bed, and then sitting down and sitting up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning working. And I did it for years. You can't do that if it's not something you feel strongly about or you're passionate about. You have to enjoy it. You have to believe in what you're doing. I always believed that I could be the best in this area, and I've managed to prove it that I can be with the awards that we've won. But yeah, you have to want to do it to start with.
Yeah, definitely that sort of drive and determination to change things or be better or be the best.
Exactly.
That's what's gonna help you succeed. Good advice. Thank you for that. So what inspires you to do what you do? Again, it's probably just moving on a little bit from what we've just talked about, but friends, family, your customers to be the best, the team that you work with, or anything you read, listen to, feel free to share inspiration.
Well, I think in general, triathlon was a marketplace that I wanted to work in because the people are so inspirational anyway. To do an Ironman, for example, it's a bucket list thing to do. People train for months and years to do this. So I get inspired that people choose my products. They entrust me for their garments that they're going to wear. On some of them, this is one of the biggest days of their lives to do this. But then on the other end of the spectrum, I have professional athletes that are entrusting me to design them products that's going to give them that 0.5% that means they're going to win, as opposed to come second or third. So I always wanted to work in an industry that was fit and healthy. Well, triathlon is, swimming, running, cycling, all of these things, yoga, strength and conditioning. People are fit and healthy. The people that are in triathlon are positive. These are not people that sit around and mope and drink and smoke and all of these are people that are doers. They get up and they go out and they get it done. And that's inspiring. Also, it's a, there's no getting away from it. It's a fairly affluent marketplace and it's a fairly affluent sport. You have to have a little bit of clout behind you to, buy the bike and do the training and all of this. And all of those things together just was a more attractive marketplace for me. As I mentioned, I'd worked in automotive. And whilst it can be fun and exciting working with these spectacular cars, there's a lot of sort of long hours and grinding it out and thrashing out deals and all of this. And it can sometimes not be as positive. And you just, sometimes it's not as enjoyable. Whereas I feel working in sports is just, it's just a positive area to be in.
Brilliant. Good inspiration. I get what you're saying. Thank you for sharing that. So then lastly, in terms of any latest news, you've mentioned about the awards and things like that. But yeah, feel free to share anything that you're up to or even where we can go find how to buy TriFit gear. Yeah.
So working on a couple of new tri-suits. Obviously, we've got the season starting. Well, I say season starting, our Southern Hemisphere athletes are competing down in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, etc. But I'm working on a couple of new tri-suits that are going to be coming into the market for the European and North American tri-season. tends to start around about May. So that's pretty exciting. I've got some new fabrics on there. I've got some new sort of design elements that I think our customers will really like. We're actually doing a bit of a revamp on the website, so that's just kind of down at the moment whilst it's a little bit quiet, but that will be coming up. But yeah, just, you know, follow us on social. It's try_fit_athletic on Instagram. Everything that's new and up and coming, you know, it's the world we live in. It always goes on social media first. So yeah, just follow us on there, and everything gets posted.
Brilliant. Daniel, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you for sharing everything, and I wish you all the best over the next few years.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.